since
That's some jazzy music.
Since we last left the podcast, I was headed to Mark Normand last Friday night.
No, I didn't get to go.
Yeah, and you should have. You really should have.
I know.
The only problem was going down there. There was a fire on 93, which is, if you know Arizona, you had interstate, and there's 93 that goes down to Phoenix.
Right.
Well, there was a fire on 93. And
where the 40 connects it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they shut it down from Kingman all the way to Phoenix. Mm-hmm. Because you don't want to get halfway down and have to turn around.
Are you sure they didn't do it because they're like, we don't need any Kingman visitors this weekend?
Well, I guess if they wanted to do it to intentionally fuck me, then...
I'm just kidding.
So I had to go all the way through Prescott and down. And then I was concerned in Prescott because there's a big fire there and there's a big fire up in Flagstaff.
Like, yeah, how do I get to Phoenix now?
Like, the one in Prescott, you drive by the airport and you can see plane after plane taking off, to drop whatever chemicals they drop on the fire.
Yeah,
the firefighter. So I'm like going, I don't see a fire. I'm like, I heard it was big, but how come you can't see it? And as you leave Prescott and you turn on to get onto Interstate 17, which goes from Flagstaff down to Phoenix, I looked in my rearview mirror and the entire mountain was on fire. I mean, like the entire back window of my car.
Like it was glowing?
Well, it was just smoke. It wasn't glowing because it was at during the day.
Oh, okay.
Towards twilight, not towards sunset.
Oh, that's right. You probably would have gotten out of work and on the road like before it was dark.
Yeah. So here's the funny, not funny part of it. So had a date, and we go to see Mark Normand, who is hilarious. He absolutely crushes it.
He's one of our new favorite comedians.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He might have been around for a while, but new to us.
I've known about him for years from from Opie and Anthony, and
I change it. New to Snow.
Yeah, new to you. But he's only gotten more popular over the last 5 years because Amy Schumer discovered him, took him out on tour, and she produced his first Comedy Central special. So Amy Schumer broke him. So it was my first time getting to see him, and he crushed it. He killed it. And I met him afterwards. And what do? I promote someone else's podcast, not my own.
You're a dick.
Yeah, no. I had the opportunity.
How could you hurt me like that?
Well, you should have gone, number one. And then I might have thought about it.
Reality redemption in the background.
Yeah, and so Mark was cool. I got a picture with him, and I posted to Instagram, and I did tag him in it. And I did say, hey, kind of a dick move on my part to meet you and not promote my podcast instead of promoting Opie's podcast. Because I said, hey, you should do Opie's podcast. And he's like going again, and he's just like, oh, yeah, cool. Because he acknowledged that, oh, wow, you've been listening for a while,
At least he didn't promote Joe Rogan's podcast.
And then he turned around and goes, oh, so you're the one listener. And I'm like, well, you haven't heard our podcast.
We have half.
Yeah. If Opie has one, how many do we have?
Listening.
And it's funny you said Joe Rogan because he's on Joe Rogan's podcast all the time, too.
Yeah, so we didn't need to promote. I was right. We didn't need to promote that because he already goes on there. And
I wanted to ask him.
No offense, Joe Rogan.
Well, I asked him on Instagram, but he hasn't replied to me who his opening act was. And it was this guy from Texas who was absolutely hilarious. And he spent like a good 10 minutes doing Greg Abbott jokes. Which
I would have loved because I can't stand Greg Abbott.
But
I don't know why anyone in Texas could stand him.
But you can see why like the crowd in Phoenix didn't necessarily find that humorous.
Well, Phoenix is moving,
right.
Okay, Tucson, out of our big cities in Arizona, because I'm a native Arizonan, like Tucson is our most liberal area, but like Phoenix actually is moving more towards that way. It is our biggest city.
Right. Oh, and
But my theory too might be that a lot of people don't even know, like, a lot of prominent names in politics. So maybe they just don't know the name Greg Abbott. Maybe they don't know who that
They
is.
knew who he was because he was getting a few boos.
Oh, he got booed.
A little bit. Speaking also of comedians, our favorite comic who was actually from Massachusetts but now resides in Arizona, Doug Stanhope. There's a big fire in Bisbee.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, just right outside.
No, Bisbee is like my most favorite town in Arizona. It used to be Jerome. Jerome's number 2, but Jerome got like taken over by the artists, so it's gotten a lot more cleaned up and not so hippie anymore. So it's like a lot more ritzier. That's the only reason why I stick with Bisbee, because Bisbee's got like the hippie souls who aren't super fancy.
I've never even been to Bisbee.
Oh, it is awesome. I actually didn't go until like a few years ago because Jerome was always my favorite place. Like, I mean, where would a person like me
I know. I
gravitate to in a state like Arizona?
I just want to show up at Stanhope's house and be like, hey, dude, let's fucking party.
Actually, you know, like, so his girlfriend, Bingo, you can rent her place on Airbnb. Like, she had her own private place where she could do her artwork and whatnot. I think she paints and whatnot. She's really nice. Like, I talked to her a little bit when I went to one of the Doug Stanhope shows in Vegas. But you can rent her place.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's really reasonably priced.
That's cool.
For, like, Airbnb, you would think, like, since she's got somewhat of a... Yeah. She's cute. She always goes to the Stanhope show and she's like wearing a different costume each time. One time she was dressed as a Vegas showgirl, and then the other time she was dressed as like the Mad Hatter. And she likes to dress in costume, which I am a fan of because I love Halloween.
So we get out with Mark, and I had a date, and I think I mentioned this on the last episode. That did not really go good after that, because after Mark, we took an Uber back to her place, and she was already pre-gaming before I showed up.
Well, it's a good thing you guys took Uber then, drinking responsibly.
Right. But we get back to her place, and she had teenagers, and she had to bring one of the teenagers home. So she gets up and leaves. It's gone for a long time. Now here I am in her house, you know, a total stranger. I don't know her. We didn't even really have a chance to talk, because you go to a comedy show, you can't talk at a comedy show, right? I mean, she kind of did a little bit. She was kind of talking to me. I'm like, shh, fuck, Mark will fucking rag on us.
Try to hear the jokes, lady.
Yeah.
Did you go through her underwear drawer while she was
No. I just
medicine cabinet?
I just went to the couch.
See what maybe she might be taking?
I went to the couch. I waited up for a while because I was like, oh, hey, we'll hang out, you know, have a drink, and maybe we can actually talk some. And no, she never came back. And I wake up at like 4 a.m, and she had texted me that she'd snuck in the back way, and she was sleeping in her daughter's room.
Okay.
So I was just like, okay, whatever. And I didn't really respond to it. And then because I'm in a stranger's house, and I wake up, you know, again, a couple hours later, and she's like texting me, like, she goes, oh, well, I'm going to urgent care because, you know, my ear is killing me. So, and then she gets up and leaves me alone in her place, goes to urgent care. About 7 a.m, I showed myself out.
Okay, this kind of I hate to play detective. Not really, I kind of like it. But, it almost sounds to me like she is seeing someone who won't give her a whole lot of attention. So she had you come down and go on a date so she could get attention, and then that person wants attention, so that's where she went for those hours. Comes back and then says she, like, it just seems weird. You know what I found? If I had to guess what happened.
You know what I found was suspect, though, and it didn't hit me till tonight when I was thinking about, what we're going to talk about in this podcast, was during the opening act, she went up and went to the bathroom, and she was gone for like half the opening act, which lasts about 20 minutes. So she was gone about 10 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. And she gets back, and the host brought a tequila drink for her. And it was just like, it's on the house. I was like, oh, what's that about?
Oh my God. She went with that host into the bathroom. They made out in a bathroom stall. And then she's like, okay, I got to hook up with you later, but I got to go home first. And then I can skedaddle out of there because I have to like at least let my guest go home and, sleep there because his kids are there and blah, blah, blah. And does this sound ridiculous?
No, not that we're breaking it down like this.
I'm like, oh my God. I watch a lot of forensic files.
And
then this happened.
And so I felt bad that, whatever, she was feeling bad or whatever. So the next day I sent flowers like, hey, sorry, the date didn't turn out the way you wanted. But hey, no hard feelings. No, but she said, thank you. The flowers are beautiful. But I haven't heard from her since. Ghosted.
Because she has been now dating that host that gave her a free tequila shot.
Well, he was kind of a cute young buck, so it's fine with me.
Wow.
And she's happy.
And they live in the same city, so,
Yeah, just across town. But
if there's any other crazy broads out there, and Jay is available.
Yeah. I certainly... She said that in the middle of the show. She was just like, you say you like crazy girls. Well, I happen to know I am crazy. I'm like, oh, okay.
Great. Did you go, great, you're just my type. Thank God.
Absolutely proved it.
You should just start telling jokes.
I would have had more.
At this point, you should just start, having a better attitude about it and just start telling jokes back to them when they say some shit like that.
Oh, well.
Moving on.
We'll go see Mark. We'll go see Mark in Vegas when he comes there.
Yeah, I'd rather go to Vegas than Phoenix. And I'm from Phoenix, but I'd rather go.
Downtown area of Phoenix isn't bad.
No, it is really cool downtown. Quite honestly, they've done a lot down there. They've made it. There's a lot of cool restaurants down there. No offense. What I hate about Phoenix is the traffic is god awful. I don't want to be down. I don't want to be down there driving around. I would rather deal with Vegas traffic.
Yeah. So, what else happened this week? Elon Musk apparently bought Twitter for $44 billion.
Billion with a B.
Whoa.
So,
here's my thing. Here's our take, and I think the left shouldn't get all out of sorts about this. I think we have bigger issues. And
I think the left should stop focusing on the small shit. Oh God, because this is the biggest cry I hear is oh God, Elon Musk is, he bought Twitter, and so now he's going to allow Donald Trump to come back on. Good. Let him. Because You know what? People haven't heard from that orange monster in a while, so they've forgotten how bad he is. Let him come back on Twitter and start his bullshit so we can all be like, oh yeah, this is why we voted your fucking ass out. Let him come on there.
It's kind of funny how the guy who made his name investing in electric cars. Let's get this straight. Investing. He did not come up with the technology for the Tesla. There was two other guys that came up with technology, but he invested.
So you're telling me that he's not the inventor?
He's not the inventor, but if it wasn't for his investments, Tesla would have never gotten off the ground. Which is truth be told here. And I'm not bagging on
Those are not
Elon.
my issues with Elon. My issues with Elon is I think he has a lot of nerve going on Twitter and making fun of women's appearances and women's bodies when you are growing a nice set of bitch tits, dude. I saw a picture of you recently where you were even in a suit and I could see your titties coming in. So I don't want to hear you bad mouthing women on their bodies. I'm sick of hearing about it.
See, now you're
from somebody.
Now you're.
I'm gonna body shame him because he's doing it to women.
Right, and you're body shaming, and this is free speech, so he can't get mad at us.
Yeah, don't get mad at me for calling out your bitch tits.
I think I'll have the Trump lizard, make comments about him and see if Trump lizard gets banned from Twitter. Because wouldn't that be ironic?
And then here's my second beef with Mr. Musk. So I don't know if you remember this, but I remember this. I remember when he came out with this statement. I did not know about what the backup thing was because I thought it just kind of died once. I thought he killed the argument with this statement. A while ago, he came out, he said, if anyone can give me a bullet point effort on how to end world hunger, and I think he was saying, I would be willing to donate $6 billion to end world hunger. If you could give me the bullet points on what I would need on how to do this and get it done and taken care of. So I remember hearing that part. I'm not quite clear on the numbers. So I thought it died with that because I was like, well, maybe no one can. Update. Somebody did. Somebody gave him a bullet point proposition, a business model on how to conquer world hunger in step-by-steps. And he was like, no, I'm good. So it's and that would have costed what, the $6 billion? But you have $44 billion to buy a social media company, but you can't cure world hunger, and you knew that you could?
It's for free speech, though.
Okay, so then I just want to say, I'm all for freedom too. I feel how free I am every day when I see millions of people wearing their flag shirts in the country in which I live in. Doesn't that just tell you how free you are? Okay, so it's okay to allow people to starve when you know and you've said that you want to conquer that problem if you had help figuring out how to do it, as long as you can say whatever you want.
Well,
that's a real human there. That's like a real human. And I'm not saying that it's his responsibility to end world hunger, but he's the one that fucking brought it up. No, I didn't bring it up. I'm not sitting there accusing him. I didn't go after and attack him and say, dude, you're buying this when you could do this. These are things that he actually said and proposed at an earlier time.
Well, free speech doesn't mean you have to follow through on it.
I guess not. It just means you can say things that sound great.
Yeah.
Like, make America great again.
Yeah, hey, what?
Sounds great. Not really going to do it. That's the thing. Getting off course just a little bit about the whole make America great again, because it's most of the boomers that fell for that, and they always talk about how we want to take stuff back to the 1950s. If we're going off of boomers' ages, weren't they like children? Everybody's childhood was great, unless you grew up in a really shitty household, but it's everyone's childhood was great. Well, not everyone's, because in the 50s we still had a lot of civil rights issues that had to be addressed. A lot of people didn't really have, okay.
No.
We're having a little bit of technical
Wait, something's happening. I think, I don't know, could Elon Musk be, knows he's been talking about him? Could he be tapping our phones or something through Twitter, and he's going to cut us off because we're not, we're talking bad about Elon Musk right now? I think, oh shit.